let's try and see a follow-up onto what the Independent National Electoral Commission did recently, talking about displaying the voter register across centers in the state. I think that was a national event. It was a national thing that they did all over registration centers across the country. And also issues came up as a result of that, reactions and counter-reactions. And let's also feel the pulse one more time, because when we talk about the 2019 election, and of course when we talk about elections in Nigeria, the Independent National Electoral Commission is one big agency that we cannot stop but talking about them. And with us this morning, we are so privileged to have Mr. Wilfred Ifoga. He's the head of voter education and publicity of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Edo State. Sir, you're welcome to the program this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers and listeners at home.
Yeah, and also we have Mr. Austin Udili, who is head of admin and finance of the National Orientation Agency, Edo State. Sir, you're welcome to this program.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning, viewers.
Yeah, and also to intimate our viewers out there, we have Professor Dr. Bazwaye Nosa, a consultant and a hematologist, is on the standby, and also we also have Dr. Alex Oko. We're going to be talking about hematology. We're going to be talking about pathology and also diabetes later on the program this morning on ITV. Gentlemen, you're welcome one more time to this program. Mr. Odinle, it's been quite some time now, and from today to 2019, to precise, on the 16th of February, it's about 93 days before the general election. And I must ask you, how is National Orientation Agency be faring concerning the election? I mean, the business of educating, enlightening the voters.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's actually been a while. I'm happy to be back. Well, you see, the last time I was here, I remember still telling us and viewers that the business of enlightenment or educating the people on government policies and programs is not an event, it is a process. It is ongoing. Whether the cycle of election has come again or not, our business, the mandates of the National Orientation Agency is, one, to educate Nigerians and the public on government programs and activities, most especially its policies, and to ensure that these programs, activities, and policies are better understood by the people, and to sufficiently mobilize favorable public opinions you know, to support these activities of government. Having said that, concerning the election slated for next year, which is around the corner, which activities actually geared up, we're up, you know, we're up and at our game. One, because, like you know, we have 18 local government areas in Edo State, and their presence, you know, is firmly established in these local government areas. We have a crack team of personnel that have been trained, that have been made, you know, brown.
But the last few elections we've had in Nigeria doesn't show that the National Orientation Agency is living up to expectation. I mean, it is your business to orientate the people against anomalies, most especially as it relates to elections. In Osun State, it was widely reported that voters still sold their votes.
You see, let me correct an impression here. The last two elections, I believe you alluded to, are the ones that held in Ekiti and Osun State.
Yeah.
I want to say that at least if you take the indices, the parameters at least to measure the success of the elections, you discover that at least the awareness of Nigerians, the consciousness of Nigerians are more compared to the 2014 elections in Ekiti. Ditto for Osun. As at that 2014, for example, this issue of vote buying that is new, that has gained currency, you understand, was not there. You see, it is because of the consistency of the agency in appealing to the conscience of Nigerians to see the process of election as the only opportunity they have to choose and to choose good leaders and then to do away with bad leaders. I haven't said that. You see, these politicians are constantly, you know, devising new methods, at least to beat, you know, the system. Because one, most politicians in Nigeria today, those who are actors, gladiators in the theater of elections in Nigeria today, I tell you, are not ready to play by the rules. They want to circumvent the rules. That is why the issue has come. One, it is because we had told them. That's why they just said, okay, now they have done away with the violence and talk green. Yeah. They have embraced to say, okay, look, we can do it some other way. And I bet you, like the electoral choir, our partner, collaborators and sister, because we are like Siamese twins at least, they're equally not sleeping. So I will not speak for them, but I know that at least like the Osun election, for example, you have said, that they have come up with ideas that actually have beaten the politicians at their game. And I'm happy to say, to let you know that at the National Convention of one of the leading political parties in the country, they adopted a system they had stridently criticized INEC for, which means at least INEC, that idea, at least is a positive one. It will go a long way at least to ensure credibility in the conduct of our elections. So it is not too proper to say that at least NOAA, the agency, is not doing its best. I know there's room for improvement, but then definitely within the space of time, the peculiarity of the system of the elections in this country, in these last 2 elections, and I know even if I was not in Ekiti or in Osun, but I knew the agency in these 2, or the directorates in these 2 states at least, did their best, and they were commended by both local and international observers.
Okay. Mr. Wilfred Ifoga, you are the head of voter education. This is a new office to you and for you.
Publicity.
And publicity. And they recently, INEC had to display the voters register.
Yes.
Was INEC really ready for that display? I mean, following the reactions that came out after that display of the register?
Okay, let me start this way. I would like to give an update of where we started from and where we are now, so that we can understand why the display of the National Register. Yes, it's part of our duty after every registration exercise to display what we have in our database, the Preliminary Register of Voters, so that everybody can come and see what INEC has done by way of what they gathered from the field, from the respective voters, so that if it's in tandem with what they have come to register with. Let's say for the register that was displayed, it covers all registered voters in Nigeria right from 2010 till date. Yes, because, you know, before now, I think periodically, maybe when we have one election coming
was that register ever updated? Because there are reports...
That's what I'm still on now.
Okay.
Yes. In 2015, we had an update. Before 2015 general election, we had an update. Then also, before the governorship election in 2016, there was also an update. Are you getting it? So, you know, before now, when it's getting close to an election, we do an update. But the last one we had now, the update was continuous. And so I would call it the continuous voter registration.
But how come there are still reports of the display of deceased?
Yes, let me explain now. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah.
You know, over time before now, after each exercise like this, we display the register for people to come and see, because there's a procedure called claims and objections. It's part of every exercise. Once we round up, even right from 2017, because we started the exercise April 27th, after a quarter, we'll stop, create about 5 days or more for people to come and see what we have done, so that they'll let us know in the bed. These registers we are talking about were for the new registrants. But now what we did from 6th of November to 12th of November was the entire display of the National Register. So that right from 2011, whatever period you register within this period, in the current register we have, let us know those that have died, those, because there were these allegations that people registered twice. Yes, if there are evidence to show that these people registered twice, let us have the evidence. Then also there were these allegations that in some places, people used fictitious names using, what is it called, still pictures, maybe from calendars and whatever. Yeah, if there are cases like this, you let us know so that these things can be put together and forwarded to our state office.
Whose responsibility is it to know that a voter registered twice? Is it the voter's responsibility or your own responsibility? Well, because there are indications that some names were displayed more than once in different centers. So if your database is so correct, I mean, if a name is going out for the second time, your database also have fished that out.
This way, right from 2011 when we started the direct data capture, although it started in 2006, but it was enhanced as from 2011. Yes, well, the devices we use, they are not as robust as what we have now. You know, technology improves. And as it improves, INEC will definitely adopt it. Are you following? Yeah, I said there were alleged cases. So where there are alleged cases like this, that, okay, you have double registration. Like some people, now let me use this, there's this one good case. When I was in the field, somebody registered twice. How did he do that? When he registered, he said there was a mistake in the name. All right, my name is Wilfred now, and maybe in an attempt to spell Wilfred, L was omitted. Are you getting it? And I will not come back to the officers and if oh, there was a mistake. Then the officer will start saying, oh, so you have to wait for the period where we do claims. But some of them are so in a hurry, they will not want to come back. They want to get it corrected immediately. So what they do, they go to maybe another center
and register,
giving the correct information now. Are you getting it? So because you know, in the business rule of producing these registers, it goes through a process we call the AFIS, that is the Automated Fingerprint Identification System. Because at the unit level, it will not be identified. It's only when it gets to the national level, they put everything together and they match it. And they bring out those who have attempted the registration twice or multiple registration. So now, because there are claims that, okay, this one has happened, so now that is why what we have now, before it is fully integrated, okay, now come so that this one will now be removed from the system entirely, especially those that are even late. So let's not have, because for us to now say, okay, let me just use this figure now. Let me say we have 1 million voters. And inside the 1 million voters, we know some of them are dead. It's not good to say we have 1 million voters when we know definitely there are inactive ones, especially those ones that are dead. So we are asking individuals, because on our own we cannot do it. There has to be proof that this person no longer exists, or this is the situation.
Okay. Now, Mr. Austin Odenle, most times when Noah speak permits me to use the word speak now, is that it appears your own business is for the electorates alone. Very soon we're going to have the candidates, you know, campaigning here and there. So, what are you putting on ground to also orientate the candidates?
Yes. We don't just speak to the people alone. We speak to the party leadership and their candidates. Because I know from on the 18th now, at least the lead on campaigns, you know, will be lifted.
Yeah.
So you see, the political space is going to become very busy. So like I said, we have structures on ground. We too were evolving new strategies, for example, because at the end of every exercise, for example, we brainstorm, we go on retreat, we brainstorm. I'll do an appraisal to see how things are fed, you know, what needs to be done and how to go about it. So we have done all of that, and we know what needs to be put in place. We know the kind of information, voter information we're going to give to the electorates, the one we give to those who have no business at all being outside on a poll day. And then we equally have a message we have designed for the party leadership. And then we have another for the candidates. So you discover that it's all embraced. We even have for the youths. You understand? Because we know that at least the youths are, you know, is a reservoir where, you know, violence and thuggery, you understand, are recruited, trained, and deployed. So we're telling them for that we are targeting the parents. And then we're going through schools, starting from the secondary schools through all tertiary, you know, all levels of tertiary institutions, you understand? To ensure that as we catch these people, we get them, you know, let this message sink into them, that, look, we need to get it right this time. And that one, it is not just enough for you to bare your chest and say, look, to die for somebody whose children, for example, are not even in the shores of this country. They are outside. You understand? And that if at the end of the day you get caught up, for example, in the battle and then you lose your life, is a loss to you and your family and then to Nigeria, because one, for us, no one, you may not have fulfilled your destiny. You understand? So on the whole, holistically, we have put in place a lot of activities, for example, starting from the states that we have devolved to the senatorial and then the local governments, and then the wards, and then into the communities. Because one, this time around, we are going to zero in seriously on interface. Interface, that is, into the communities. And then we have permanent structures on ground, because we use the traditional institutions. We use, you know, community-based organizations. We use faith-based organizations.
That has always, those have always been the methods.
Yes, but the thing is, at least we are increasing the tempo, because one, definitely you discover that we are not forgetting the traditional media, whatever, for example. You understand? Jingles, programs, and then at least we working on an arrangement, for example, we're going to come around at least all the media houses, you understand, to see if we can re-establish on the, you know, higher scale at least, this partnership between the media houses, both the print and electronic, and then the agency. You see, what I mean by, you see, outside of this, for example, we're just talking at least, I hear what people, you know, one of your kids you put around, for example, the issue of power. In the whole of Benin, for example, like more than 70% of the city is involved in darkness.
For weeks now.
Yes, for weeks, you understand. Yeah. So how many Nigerians, for example, how many citizens, for example, who are battling with, you know, putting food on the table, will go and begin to buy fuel or diesel to power generators? And then how many have these transistor radios, for example? None. So that is why we need to go down, you understand, because it is when you talk to a person eyeball to eyeball, for example, it's different from when you communicate.
Do you have enough staff for that? Because your complaint has always been that you don't have enough staff.
No. You see, it
because the election we are talking about now is perhaps a big election.
No, my brother, let me tell you, we have enough staff. In Edo State, for example, we have over 120 staff. Yes. And then we have...
That will go through all the walls.
Outside that, we have a paramilitary outfit, the Y Brigade. You know, we call them the brigaders. They are almost 1,000.
Okay, let me pause you. Let me come to Wilfred Ipoga. Now, Mr. Wilfred, yes. We need your updates on the card reader, because I remember your predecessor, Mr. Francis Ikbefo. He came on my program at a time, and I think it was about 2 days to the day he came that we had this story that rain fell and card readers were destroyed and all that. And of course, he did promise me that Inec was going to look into that. So what is the updates of card readers in Edo State as we speak now?
Okay, well, for updates on card readers in Edo State as we speak now, well, I can't really say anything on that, but I just want to let
no, we need you to say something on that, because the success of next year's election
on that and everything that has to do with it has been sent to our headquarters, and definitely measures have been taken to ensure that before the general elections we have new sets.
We're talking about 93 days from now.
Of course, no. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But what I want to say about the card reader thing is this: you know, a lot of people have misconception about what the card reader does. But I want to let them know that if you don't pass through the card reader, you can't vote. Yes, this is based on recent improvements on the functions of the card reader. You know, before now, in election, in the field where a voter, a prospective voter, the card reader could not capture whatever, the next thing they resort to the register form. Yeah. There will be no incident form in the next election. So because what is done is once you come, you know, first of all, the card reader verifies the card to ensure it's authentic and it's from Inec. Then the other one is to authenticate the voter by ensuring that he's the owner of the PVC. So, but now, once that is not able, once that process could not be ascertained, then you say use the incident form. But now the card reader has been improved that even if you take your thumbprint and it doesn't take it, it will recapture you right there.
Immediately.
Yes, that means every voter will be captured by the card reader. So only trying to balance whatever the card reader is with the incident form, because in time past it was abused. So right now, whether no matter as far as so I would advise everyone, because I think just before this session I saw the clip on where one of your colleagues was asking, do you have your PVC, and you're displaying it. Please, that PVC shouldn't go around with you like that, so that you not get destroyed. Because what you're seeing there contains a chip and an antenna, because the card reader reads the information inside the card from there. So if you take it around, you might not know how you'll be handling it. You might sit on it, or something else might even happen, or heat, depending on where you're keeping it, might destroy it. So on election day, if you go there and they use the card reader for it and is unable to read it, you can't vote. So I would expect you now to just keep it somewhere you can easily reach it when you want to use it, so that it will not get destroyed between now and then, because No card reader will be produced for anybody between now and, like, except for those already that have not produced their cards. And just like the resident electoral commissioner said when he was addressing members of the NUJ, in December, yes, the cards for those that have not collected their cards and their cards that have not been printed, they will receive their cards in December.
In this December?
Yes, this December. We're expecting them. That's why this display we did has to end when it ended, so that those in the ICT department and voter registry will do whatever
enough
they
time
can
to produce.
Yeah, exactly, to give us time so that INEC can produce these cards for all those who have not collected their own. Okay.
Now, Mr. Austin Odinle, as we wrap up now, I want you to talk more on your last talk on, talking about having enough staff.
Yes, like I said, we have enough staff on ground. They are well trained. They are prepared.
I'm going to bring you back.
Well, outside that, we are complemented by our white brigaders. There's no local government area in Edo State that has less than 150 white brigaders. That is number one. They complement our efforts. Then outside that, we have committees. We have committees in every community. In every community in Edo State. And we work, we liaise with them, because these committees are made up of people who are respected in these communities, opinion molders, those who, when they speak, at least the people listen. So we go through them. At least that is why when we move into a community, for example, they are the one, you understand,
yeah,
who amplifies the message of the agency in these communities. So we get feedback from them. Our officers in the field, they interact with them. They go routinely out to these people, at least to network with them. And then don't forget, in every community now, whether you like it or not, you have community-based organizations. We use them too. So when it comes to the issue, I think maybe you were going to talk of before, the song has been, the agency is not funded, it's poorly funded, and all the rest. Like I said, look, the little that comes to us, we use. You understand, judiciously.
Nah, but we don't see your own budget, just like
for example, like the national headquarters, for example, has just rolled out, information vans. We're expecting delivery. Yes, they've procured them.
For next year's election.
In short, any time from now, we take delivery. That we had before in the days of MAMSA. Because that is why, for example, we look like we use our cars now because we don't have utility cars.
But most times you find just one van to one state. Will that be enough?
Well, I wouldn't know how many they are bringing.
That has always been the culture.
What is happening now is that, look, we have vehicles, for example, fitted. As I speak with you now, if you go to Edo North, you see such vehicles, for example, they are fitted and they're branded in NOAA colors. So they are going around and all the rest. And then in that regard, at least, I want to still commend some local government, for example, that have come to the assistance of the agency.
Okay. Now, Mr. Ifoga, if the Electoral Act becomes a law, just before the 2016 election, do you think your own INEC, are we ready for those amendments in the Electoral Act?
Well, whatever the law says, that is what INEC will implement. That's all. That's all.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep our tabs on that.
I just wanted to add, I know the display exercise we started 6 to 12th was also done alongside the collection of PVCs. We also found out that immediately the exercise and the collection of PVC dropped. Please, just like the rec said, Dr. Alex Hart promised, said, collection of PVC at the world level continues so that the people can avail themselves of this opportunity. The PVCs are still at the world level. Let them go there and pick it up.
Please, I need you to repeat that one more time.
I just want to say, just to reenact what the resident electoral commissioner said. He said collection of PVCs at the world level continues in Edo State. So every individual who has not collected their PVC and they know they have genuinely registered and they found their name on the national register and the card is available, should go to the ward where they registered, covering the particular unit they registered, to pick up their cards. Okay. All right. You've heard it from the horse's mouth, talking about Mr. Wilfred Ifoga, who is the head of voter education and publicity of Edo State INEC. He had just told you that despite that the display of the voter register has ended, collection of your permanent voter's card continues. Go to the center where you register to collect it, because INEC is really ready to let you have this material. It is your own property. Mr. Austin Odile, thank you so much for joining us, and also Mr. Ifoga, thank you so much.